What's going on, guys, and welcome back to LOI TV. Now today we're going to be taking a look at a lot of the Irish youngsters that are going to be hoping for a place in the Euro 2021 squad. That is, if we get there. With all the negativity and stuff going on at the moment, I thought it'd be nicest to imagine us being at the Euros and being in this luxurious position of having to pick through a lot of these youngsters. So I'm going to be doing a rating type thing, a lot of the youngsters that I think could be going to the Euros. I want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments below. Let me know. If you do want to enjoy the video, guys, you should drop a like on it down below. Make sure to subscribe. And yeah, let's jump right into it. Mark Travers, 9 out of 10. Yeah, Mark Travers, of course, a Premier League goalkeeper with Bournemouth. He burst onto the scene last season and he had a man-of-the-match performance in their 1-0 win against Tottenham Hotspur. Since then, he's kind of struggled for first team football. Aaron Ramsdale has come into the Bournemouth side and done very, very well and nailed down the #1 spot. So I think Eddie Howe did block Mark Travers from getting a loan deal away, which is quite strange. I think he wanted that bit of cover, but a loan deal would have been perfect for Travers, and maybe he might get that leading up to the Euros. And I think he's already in the senior setup, so I think it's a very likely that he will be in the three goalkeepers going. Caoimhín Kelleher, 4 out of 10. Caoimhín Kelleher, as you all know, is a goalkeeper with Liverpool. His first team football has been restricted to just kind of cup appearances, where he hasn't been great, to be fair. He's letting in a good few goals. He hasn't really nailed down the #1 jersey in the under-21 side either, so I think his chances of getting to the Euros are probably quite slim. Conor Kearns, 1 out of 10. Conor Kearns, a goalkeeper with St Patrick's Athletic, has been in and around the under-21 setup, but I do think it is quite unlikely that he will be at the Euros next summer. He hasn't even been the #1 choice for St Pat's so far this season, so it's quite unlikely that he will be in the three goalkeepers in the squad. James Talbot, 3 out of 10. James Talbot, who did receive a call up to the senior setup, he is definitely good enough to be in that three. He is a bit unlucky this season with getting a bad injury, but this kind of coronavirus, not that it was a good thing for him, but it does give him a chance to get back into the Bows team as soon as football is resumed. For him, it's just about kind of really getting Bows, keeping them at the top of the table, nailing down the #1 jersey, because McGuinness is doing quite well for Bows so far. So if he can nail down the jersey and maybe get the team of the season or something like that, leading up to the Euros, then you don't know. You never know. He could get that to be the third choice, but I think third choice is probably the best he could achieve. Gavin Bazunu, 5 out of 10. Gavin Bazunu, who is probably the under-21's first choice goalkeeper, really talented kid. Of course, he showed that with Shamrock Rovers in the short spell he played as their first choice. He was really impressive, and then of course earned the move to Man City for, I think it was 500,000, which is a huge transfer fee, of course. So for Gavin, it is definitely possible. I think he needs probably a move out on loan or something like that leading up to the Euros to play first team football if he does want to get into the squad though. Danny McNamara, 1 out of 10. Danny McNamara, who spent the first half of the season on loan at Newport County, then was recalled by Millwall, is probably very unlikely to be included in the squad. Look who's ahead of him, Seamus Coleman and Matt Doherty. You're not going to uproot either of them, and I don't think he'll be brought in any other capacity, so I think the chances of Danny McNamara getting to the Euros are quite slim. Nathan Collins, 3 out of 10. Nathan Collins has definitely impressed me so far this season with Stoke. Stoke have been in a bit of a relegation battle. They've had a tough campaign, but Nathan Collins has been a bright prospect for them. He's only 18 years of age and has played at the heart of their defence. I don't see him working his way into the Irish setup ahead of a lot of established Premier League defenders. I would be quite surprised, but you don't know. If he has a good season next year with Stoke or with somebody else, he could well be a candidate. Leo Connor, 4 out of 10. Leo Connor, who was of course with Celtic, he went on loan to Partick Thistle where he's made a couple of appearances. He has been included in senior squads, and he was in the most recent one for the friendly with New Zealand where he made his debut, and he impressed. He won't let you down. He's a versatile defender as well. I think he can play anywhere across the back four, so that is something that whether it be Kenny or Mick McCarthy will look at and like that versatility about him. But I think there probably is better options available. Dara O'Shea, 9 out of 10. Other options available like this man right here, Dara O'Shea, who's been so good for West Brom as of late. The West Brom side, who were in that top 2 race, they looked like they were going to seal automatic promotion to the Premier League this season, of course, until this coronavirus thing struck. But I'm not sure how it's going to play out, but he could well be a Premier League defender next season. He's been brilliant under Slavan Bilic this season, and yeah, I think he's a shoo-in if he keeps playing for West Brom. But even whether it be at the top of the Championship or in the Premier League next season, I can see he'd definitely be in my squad for the Euros. Conor Masterson, 2 out of 10. Conor Masterson, of course, the man who made a famous move from Lucan to Liverpool, then was released at the end of last season and moved to QPR, where he's made a handful of appearances. Probably not playing enough first team football to be considered. It remains to be seen whether he can break into that side for next season, but I think it's quite unlikely that he'll get into the squad. Liam Scales, 1 out of 10. Liam Scales is an interesting one. He did come into the under-21 squad and played well at left full. He got a move from UCD to Shamrock Rovers. He's still young, but he's kind of a backup at Rovers. If he can break into the Shamrock Rovers first team, then maybe he has an outside shout, but I don't see it happening, to be fair. Trevor Clark, 2 out of 10. Trevor Clark, who earned a move from Shamrock Rovers to Rotherham. He was quite unlucky because he picked up a bad injury a day or two after signing for Rotherham, but he has come back into the side. He has a good couple of appearances for Rotherham. He is versatile down that left hand side. He can play at left back or further forward in a left hand side of midfield, and he does give you pace. He gives you directness in the final third, and he's also a good defender, so he is an option, but I think there's probably better shouts out there. Darragh Leahy, 5 out of 10. Darragh Leahy's an interesting one. He is definitely the under-21's first choice left back. Stephen Kenny really likes him. Of course, earned his move to the champions Dundalk, and has been kind of playing second fiddle to Dane Massey so far this season. Whether he can break in ahead of him remains to be seen, but it is a necessity that he gets in ahead of Dane Massey regularly if he wants to get onto the squad for the Euros. Thomas O'Connor, 4 out of 10. Thomas O'Connor's been on loan with Gillingham. He's made a good few appearances for them, and he's been impressive enough in League One. But he is a good defender, and if he can go back to Southampton maybe and get in and around their squad, then he could be in with an outside shout. Josh Cullen, 6 out of 10. Josh Cullen, who has spent the last 2 seasons on loan with Charlton Athletic in League One and now the Championship, is definitely in with a really good chance of getting into the squad, especially with the likes of Glenn Whelan and stuff like that getting on a bit now. He is obviously on loan from West Ham, so whether he can get back to West Ham and kind of break into their first team plans is probably unlikely. But then Mark Noble and stuff like that is getting old, so maybe he could. He's been good for Charlton. He's been a real consistent performer and a mainstay in their midfield, and he has been in the senior squads for Ireland consistently enough for the last while, so he's definitely in with a shout. But I think there is a couple of other options that could trouble him. Jason Malumbi, 9 out of 10. This is the type of options that I'm saying could trouble Josh Cullen potentially. I think Jason Malumbi has to be in that squad. He's been fantastic for Millwall this season, who are competing for a playoff place in the Championship, or who were. So he's been fantastic, and he will definitely be in and around the Brighton squad, a Premier League team, for next season. Where he's could definitely be a starter in their midfield, and I'm really impressed by him. He's been fantastic this year, and he's definitely going to be in the Euro squad next year. Conor Coventry, 4 out of 10. Conor Coventry is an interesting one. He has been a consistent performer for the under-21s. He's on loan with Lincoln in League One, which is a bit, I would like him to maybe be in the Championship. He's got a good couple of appearances for Lincoln, and he's been done okay, but I think he needs to probably be playing in the Championship leading up to the Euros if he wants to get in with a shout of breaking into the squad. Conor Ronan, 4 out of 10. Very similar buzz with Conor Ronan and Conor Coventry. They're both in League One. Conor Ronan is that type of player that does have a bit of magic up his sleeve. Like he kind of plays that number 10 role. He's been really highly regarded in Wolves' academy for a long time now. I do really like him. He's a good player. He's been good for the under-21s, but I do think he needs to be playing Championship football at least to be in with a shout of making the squad. Danny Mandreu, 3 out of 10. Probably just behind the likes of Ronan in the pecking order. Mandreu has of course been a fantastic performer for Bohemians, and he probably needs, I don't know what Mandreu can do like if he needs to get a move to get into the squad. He's been under the 21 squad. As I said, he's kind of been behind the pecking order of the likes of Ronan and Coventry, so it is tough for him, but he's the type of player that has that moment of magic. Kenny's come out and been very complimentary about Mandreu, and he does come up with moments that can just change games, and he is technically a wonderful footballer. So Mandreu could be that like wild card choice, but it's probably unlikely. Zach Elbouzedi, 3 out of 10. Elbouzedi is an interesting one. He's been fantastic for the under-21s, and he's earned his move to Lincoln. Stephen Kenny really likes him. He's a really good engine on the right hand side of midfield, and he's been fantastic for the under-21. So Stephen Kenny will be keeping a watchful eye on him. But he probably hasn't played as much for Lincoln as maybe he would have liked to have. If you can break into their side, maybe. I'd love to see it, but I think it's a big ask. Neil Ferrugia, 1 out of 10. Neil Ferrugia needs to break into the Shamrock Rovers squad pretty much. He hasn't really been in their starting lineup so far. He is a versatile option. He's a good winger. He is tricky, and he has good pace and stuff like that. So if he does play well for Shamrock Rovers in the build-up, then maybe he has a chance, but he wasn't. I don't think he's even playing regularly for the under-21s. It's probably not very likely that he'll be in the squad for the Euros. Danny Grant, 2 out of 10. Very similar situation with Danny Grant and Neil Ferrugia, both kind of not breaking into the first teams of the under-21 side, but they're both really good League of Ireland players, and they just need to be kind of playing consistently and really performing at a high level, and then you never know. Gavin Kilkenny, 3 out of 10. Gavin Kilkenny, of course, with Bournemouth, he's been another fantastic performer for the under-21s, and I think he needed to get a loan move away, which he hasn't got yet. And I think he's like 20 now, so he needs to get that. Like he needs to be playing first team football at that age. He's highly rated at Bournemouth, and I think a loan move to the Championship, where he can try and play week in, week out and impress there, then I think he's in with a great shout. But right now, I wouldn't. He wouldn't be kind of anywhere near it really. Troy Parrott, 5 out of 10. Troy Parrott, the Spurs wonder kid, has slowed down a little bit in his momentum recently. He was of course touted from a young age as the next Robbie Keane, going to be the man to break his goal scoring records. So much expected of him, so much pressure on him from such a young age. It's going to take its toll, it's going to be difficult. Spurs' injury crisis recently, and Jose Mourinho has been very hesitant in giving Troy Parrott minutes. He's kind of been saying that he's not really ready just yet, and from what we've seen of him, that looks like the case. He looks a little bit not developed to that level just yet, which is, he's only 18, so what can you expect from him? So he does look like a bright prospect. Whether he'll be, because there is a lot of striking options, there's so many, whether he'll be in that squad for the Euros this time next year, it depends. Like if there's talk of him going to Dundalk there on a loan move, which I think would have been brilliant for him. Before the League of Ireland season started, that was the talk, and that didn't come about. Which could have been fantastic if he was playing week in, week out and bagging goals. That could have been brilliant. Maybe get playing in Europe and stuff as well for them. Now, a year older, I think he needs to get a loan move to the Championship or something like that, and see if he can play week in, week out and bag goals. And if he can, then he's in with a shout. But I think there's a lot of striking options, and I think Troy Parrott definitely has a lot to do before next summer's Euros. Adam Ida, 5 out of 10. Adam Ida is very similar to Troy Parrott in their situations at the moment. I think they're very well suited to Irish under-21 football right now. But Ida probably looks a little bit more developed than Troy Parrott in my opinion. He's been fantastic for Norwich in the FA Cup. He scored lots of goals there. Definitely could be, like, he started games in the Premier League for Norwich. Timu Pukki, of course, is probably Norwich's best player, so it's a bit annoying for Ida if they're only playing at one striker. He won't be the preferred choice. If Norwich, I'm not sure with this coronavirus thing where Norwich will be next season, whether it's the Championship or the Premier League. But I think Ida will probably have a big role to play in whichever one it is, especially if it's the Championship. If they're in the fight for promotion and Ida scoring 20 plus goals, then he has to be in consideration. I think he definitely will go then. But if they're in the Premier League and he's still not really playing and stuff like that, then it's kind of probably a tough ask. So it's one of those ones where it just remains to be seen. It's a tough to tell right now. Aaron Connolly, 7 out of 10. Aaron Connolly, I think, provides something different in the final third of the pitch. I think he's at that raw pace. He looks a little bit not ready, but he does give you that something extra. He burst onto the scene, of course, with that match against Spurs where he scored twice, and that goal cutting in from the left and smashing it home was a real highlight moment for him. For probably his rest of his career. So hopefully it's not like a Federico Macheda one-off game kind of thing. He of course did play for Ireland, didn't do an awful lot really, but he does look threatening with his pace, and he is a good finisher. So I do think Aaron Connolly will probably go. I do think he probably needs to be playing first team football week in, week out and stuff like that, and if he can be doing that in the Premier League next season, then he's definitely in with a very, very high chance of going to the Euros. Michael Obafemi, 8 out of 10. Michael Obafemi just has real character. Like, I really like him as a player. He scored at Stamford Bridge for Southampton. He's looked fantastic, and he's been competing with the likes of Shane Long and Danny Ings, and he's played a good bit of football this season, and he's been in and around the first team, which gives him a big chance of getting into the squad. And right now he definitely would be if it was for this summer's competition. And I think it'd be the same case this time next year. I think I do rate Michael Obafemi a lot. I do like him, and I think he's a real classy player, and I think he's definitely going to be one. I think whether it be 4 or 5 strikers or whatever, I think it'd be silly not to bring Obafemi as one of them. Well guys, there you have it, my ratings for a lot of the young players in Ireland's kind of setup. Definitely left a few out, so if I left any out, make sure to let me know down in the comments below, and let me know what kind of players from that list that you would bring to the Euros if you were in Kenny's or Mick McCarthy's shoes. It is hard to know right now for next year, but it's just kind of having a guess about where they're going to be this time next year, of course. So I could be proved so wrong, and I hope I am by a lot of these players. So it's a really exciting time. There's so many players there that I named that are such exciting prospects, and they're all in with a shout. So hopefully we do qualify for the Euros and we can see these players playing some minutes at it. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy. Please make sure to drop a like on the video down below and make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching guys, catch us in a bit.